Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside Mentors' Minds, where we dive deep into epic humans and find out what got them to where they are today. And today we have a high performer, someone that I've been to his villa in Bali before actually meeting him fully in person. Jordan, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Matt. Glad to be here.
All right. So Jordan, for anyone that's coming across you for the first time, do you want to give them a little background on like your story on, I guess, coming to Bali? It's not often you get to connect with someone that is building villas in Bali. You're right now in Panama City. How did this life come about for you? How did you enter into this? Was it always like this for you?
Yeah, cool. Not particularly. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, with a older brother, younger sister, dog, and started going down the road of I went to school, and then after school, I was had some jobs and just delivering pizzas. I started out in doing some just working for people and stuff like that. I was fixing TVs. I had a job fixing TVs, and I actually sort of liked that job. And then I lost my driver's license. I lost my driver's license, and then I was like, oh fuck, what am I going to do? I can't work because I needed my driver's license to go and fix TVs. So I was like, I'm going to go to university. So I moved down to Newcastle, or up to Newcastle from Sydney. Did 6 months of science at uni. And then I realized this wasn't for me. I just packed up my shit and went to Bali, basically, and was I was just figure it out, go to Bali, figure it out. And then I was didn't really pack up all of my shit. I was like, I'm just going for a holiday. But in my mind, I was like, I don't want to go back. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go back. And then it just wasn't for me anyway, the university thing. And then I was like, I had a couple of weeks of holidays finishing, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to uni. I'm going to stay here. And then, that trip sort of just expanded, and you sort of, Bali's, it's a special place. A lot of people get enchanted with the place. You can live cheap, you can surf every day. The people are happy, they're beautiful, and the locals believe in karma. Sort of when you go there, you ask yourself, can I live here? And for a lot of people, if you are focused enough and you can make a bit of money online with your business, the answer is yes. And I think with many people, when you have a moment to slow down and time to reflect, which is usually on holidays, you reflect on your normal life and you ask yourself, what is a normal life? There are people here living differently. And then I was asking why can't I do that? Mm-hmm. And then you sort of, just coming back and forwards, and it's a place where for me, it was just a place that I wanted to keep coming back to. And the obstacle to figuring that out was financial freedom, in a way, and mindset freedom as well.
And so this is so interesting. I did the same thing when I was going to uni in Canada, and in between my breaks, everyone went to go get their work experience in engineering, and I went and managed a hostel in Byron Bay. And it was like, I just went off there. You know, Byron Bay is such a magical place as well. And I'd never seen the surf before. I'd never seen the ocean. It was the first time I'd seen that. And I know that feeling so bad. Like, I didn't have it. I had too much fear to not go back, but I kept doing it. I kept going back every semester. When you said you were looking to create financial freedom, how long did that take you to create an income online?
How long did it take? You know, it came to me when I was sitting in a hammock in Mexico. My friend was reading The 4-Hour Work Week.
Nice.
So that's sort of like been my Bible to start off with. It's got a lot of good principles in it. I'm sure you've probably read it, or I'm curious if that was a catalyst for you as well. But from reading that, like, I had some business ideas and I was like, like, I can do this business. But I wasn't sure that it was just gonna, like, I wanted to live in Bali, you know, like the surf there. There was good surf. It was a good place to be. But how long did it take?
Like,
You know,
what
I
was your
always had
first
that in
venture?
mind.
What was your first
Yeah,
thing you attempted?
the first thing that I was, like, buying and selling prams and other stuff from China. So it was like drop shipping strollers, or
Okay.
just buying a bunch of prams and then sending them to Australia and, like, selling them, or getting my sister to sell them just from on Gumtree and eBay, and trying a bunch of different products from Alibaba, just like comparing the prices from Alibaba to eBay or Alibaba to Gumtree. Yeah, that's the sort of the first thing. But it was the quality of the product coming from China. We kept having issues. It kept breaking. Like, the prams keep breaking, and you have, like, angry mums coming at you with
Sure.
like, oh, you nearly killed my baby.
Oh,
But it's like, yeah, okay, we'll replace it, or we'll, like, fix the wheel, or we'll take it back and give you your money back. I suppose is what we did when you have angry mum coming at you. Yeah, but I guess the first business that allowed me to travel and still earn an income was we're helping people get their driver's licenses back if they've been speeding or drink driving. Yeah, so that's sort of the first thing. And from starting that off, because I always had that end goal in mind of going away, I only wanted to earn $500 a week. That was it. Like, I only wanted to earn, that was it. And yeah, I think it took around less than a year, really 6 to 9 months. It was a lot more to do with getting out rather than getting the cash. $500 a week is not a lot to make. It was more just about getting myself out and taking that risk, taking that leap. And I think the funny thing about that is when you do remove yourself from the machine of business, then those principles are the same ones which allow you to scale the business as well, removing yourself. So I, like, inadvertently allowed the business to scale as well as removing from the machine.
that is so cool. So you went from drop shipping to then helping people get their license back. Like, how did you make that bridge? Was it just kind of like anything to get digital freedom, to make yourself just able to be anywhere at any time and make money? Is that, I guess that was the ultimate goal. It didn't really matter what you were doing.
Yeah, for sure. That's how it started. Yeah. It didn't really matter. I was just looking for a way, and you know, you have ideas. Some of them work, some of them don't. And then obviously when you do something for a while, you develop some passion for it, and when you're working with people that are making a difference as well, then you can your values, your priorities change a little bit, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So then where did it shift for you, in what business online, for where you started like really making let's say money online?
Yeah. I mean, like really making money, would have to, depends who you're asking about,
Sure.
how
Sure.
much is like good and how much is like chump change, you know? Because yeah, there's so many different scales of
Of course.
how
But
much
let's
is
say
good.
for
But
in your world.
yeah, in my world, like I only wanted to make $500. That was it. And I surpassed that just from removing myself from the machine. So I mean, like, yeah, when I 10x that, I was pretty happy, you know. But for me, it wasn't really so much about like making bulk cash. It was it was um, it was more about exploring the other things which life has to offer you once you have sort of unlocked that time and money freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is something that you and I think share in common is I loved when you said on our message in WhatsApp, you know, you talked about lifestyle and how like if you don't have lifestyle, you really don't have anything. And I think it can be, depending on what you value and what you're after, I don't think there's a right or wrong to it, but something I really value is lifestyle too. And so I was like, I'd rather live in a forest in a hammock, but just doing what I want to be doing, than being at a bank or something like that. Like I just don't want to be doing. Like for me, the freedom lifestyle is like really is something I really value. So do you want to just share your thoughts on that, like on around the freedom lifestyle?
Yeah, for sure. Just from on what you're saying there, like living, like working for, so you have a future, like working, like you're saying, like I think you have to, if you prioritize your lifestyle, then if that is very clear for you, then you're not going to sacrifice your present moment for something in the future. You know, it has to work. If your lifestyle, if that comes first, then that has to come first. You can't say like, oh, when I have this, then I'll do that. You know what I mean? They have to work in conjunction with each other. That's the way that I see it, because yeah, if you're not enjoying your lifestyle, then what the fuck are you doing at the end of the day? You have to, if you're waiting for something to get better, we all know what that is like. Like that's just putting the carrot in front of you, and never actually eating the carrot. You know, you want to eat the carrot, and yeah, you just want to eat the carrot at the end of the day. Don't put it for something. When this happens, then I'll do this. And I hear a lot of people saying that when this happens, then I'll do that, or when I have this, then I'll do that. Yeah, and I think it's I mean, yeah, compassion to those people that have that, but I think it takes a bit of courage to and trust that things are going to work out, and taking that leap of I'll figure it out, you know, have faith, it'll work out. And if you shoot for your lifestyle first, the other things, if you're researching, if you're actively looking around for opportunities, they'll come to you. So if you shoot for lifestyle first, figure the rest out later.
Man, that's so good. How did you develop this mentality? Like, what? Because I'm sure you've had to overcome some fear to have this faith. Like, was this developed over time?
Yeah, I guess my dad had a pretty big impact on me. He told me, I remember we were like sitting in the car going somewhere, and like I just had left uni and like hadn't figured things out, and he was like, "So what are you gonna do, son?" And and I'm like, "God damn it, Dad!" And I was just like pissed off at him, and I was like, "I'm gonna do this driving school and live in Bali," and I was just like snapped it at him, or like I'm gonna do this, helping people get their licenses back and go and live in Bali. And he's like, "Okay, so what are you waiting for?" I was like, that was not the answer I was expecting. So yeah, I think that, you know, the resources are out there for anyone, whether or not you have a dad that you butt heads with, or the resources are out there. You know, we're in a time now where it's podcasts like this and just curiosity and knowing what you want.
So would you say in school you were like, I guess I should have a foundation. So I've been to playgrounds, which is your villa in Bali, and one of the things that you can usually tell by a person is their book collection. And I was just like going through your books, all your books in playgrounds, and I'm like, great book, great book. Oh my, yeah, of course you got that book. Wow, what's this? Oh my God, this is a sick book. Like, in school, were you like a studious student, or did you develop this after when you started realizing like, oh, if I actually read stuff, like it's gonna make me better?
Yeah, I'm not a studious student. I didn't really like going to school. Yeah, I would like rock up late, etc. I remember my principal called me or the deputy principal called me an opportunist, because I would always skip like the first half of the like before recess, the first half of the morning classes, because they had a schedule change, which if you worked it right, you could skip it and not get caught. But then I ended up getting caught because I did so many. But yeah, I think that in school they sort of just feed you stuff. They're feeding you things that don't actually align to what you want necessarily. Especially in high school where you have like limited subjects to choose from, and you only, in Australia, you only choose subjects from year 11 and year 12. So up until then, you're just spoon-fed stuff that just doesn't interest you. So yeah, it's something that if you follow your interest and follow your curiosity, then the information is available to you. Yeah.
And so one of the books that I wanted to ask you about, and I was curious, I saw that you had a book on Feng Shui. What's your interest with that?
Yeah. So I only really learnt about Feng Shui after building that villa, because when I first moved in there, it was the energy was fucked, and I wasn't really sure, like, oh, like Bali's a very calmer sort of place, so you're supposed to have or like a good person or whatever would have like the manku, which is like the local cleaner and whatever to come in and do a ceremony and like bless the land and things like that. And so I was sleeping in there, like just after it got built. And there's so much stuff you still have to do if you build a house, like furnish it, get trees and the garden, and like get some ornaments for the house, things like that. So yeah, I was staying in there and I was having like, I was just not sleeping well. I was having some weird dreams and like, yeah. So like, if you have a problem, you sort of try and fix it. And yeah, Bali's that sort of place where if you ask for some help, then it will come to you. And I'm sure that's like with many places. So yeah, just researching or just looking at what I can do about making the house like better energetically. And so yeah, bought a few books. I hired a Feng Shui consultant, and she came to the place and she said, "Oh yeah, that's why that's why you are having some hectic. Things aren't going very smoothly. Like shit would keep breaking and things like that." And yeah, so there's like ways that you can set up your house to maximize energy flow and feng shui around the place. There's different sections in the house that should have different sort of elements in the house. I'm not a feng shui guy, but this is just what I learned, and I stayed in an Airbnb that had a feng shui, and I had like epic sleep there. And yeah, just like positioning your environment or your space so that it looks after you rather than sucks the energy out of you.
Wow, that's so interesting. I didn't know that happened, but it makes sense. After when I showed up there, I was like, damn, this is like got some good vibes in here. And something that I thought was interesting when I started just flipping through that book was like, you can actually like write out your goals and like your strengths and stuff, and then design a place to supplement your weaknesses for like energy flow. And like trying to like, you can take the blueprint and map out the center of like mathematically map out the center of the house and all the, and I was just like, this makes so much sense, man. Like, wow, this, because like I meditate, right? So like I'm constantly like energetically in my spaces, so to speak. And so like I can feel spaces pretty deeply. And so when I started reading that, I was like, dude, this Jordan guy's on one right now. Like, it's so smart to be at this level. And I love that you hired a Feng Shui consultant, because this goes to show like maybe if you could set your place up to win before you even build it, like energetically. And so is this what you've done with your two, because you're building two other places now, right, in Bali?
Yeah, for sure. And you know, there's actually a lot of places do that. Construction people, or like some developers in Bali, do it for their villas or for their healing spaces, especially the people that are sort of energetically believe in that sort of stuff. Whether or not you can believe it or not, go into a place that has been designed by a feng shui person, and versus someone that is just like just putting it together. I mean, they might have a nice taste, but one feng shui thing that stood out for me when I was staying at this Airbnb that sort of inspired this feng shui investigation was, this is a simple one. You're just looking at, like, they had these paintings on the wall, and they were just like, there were 3 paintings, and they were just positioned. They were next to each other, but they were going up. So when you look at it, it's like it's going up, yeah. So you've got this. It's just like a positive flow, positive things to look at. Yeah, that's one of the little things that stuck out for me. But it's cool that you are organizing your space like that. And yeah, there's actually different sections in the house. So like the bedrooms and playgrounds, there's like there's different sections in the house. Are like one room is better for like starting new projects. The
Oh,
other
no way.
section of the house is like better for prosperity and wealth. The other one is like relationships and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely use that when you're planning out construction. I don't know if you plan on building anything
I
or
do, for sure.
but something to definitely consider when you're planning that out, because you like, why not as well? If you think it's going to work, then it probably is going to work. And if you find some of the ideas interesting, then follow that.
Oh man, I'm all about the vibes. Like I'm such a vibes guy. So like I'm
Yeah,
all about keeping the good vibes going, and anything I can do to just keep the vibes up, it's like something about that like peaceful vibes just feels really good. And you can bring people into that too, and they may not even be aware of it, but they're also getting affected. So for example, it's just like, let's say different nightclubs, right? Like just the music alone can affect people, let alone the environment, right? So like, yeah, it's so interesting. In Bali, what would you say is the favorite feng shui place you've ever been to? That you would say is like, oh, these guys or this place has got it figured out.
yeah.
Besides
I would
Nirvana.
say, sorry,
Besides Nirvana.
Nirvana. Yeah, good times in Nirvana. I thought you said Surveyor, which is that club up in Uluwatu. You know that
Oh,
one?
okay.
It's like hardcore. It's like pretty hardcore club. Well, I mean, it's a club. But I reckon that Istana
Yeah,
in Ulus has it tapped. That place is badass,
that is such a
and I've
sick
been.
place.
It's so sick, and just like on the cliff there, overlooking the ocean. Obviously, that's just like really nice. And they've got those like poles stuck around the place, the fire
Mm-hmm.
pit. Well, it's a recovery center, so it's definitely throwing them high vibes around. What
Yeah,
about you?
man, that's my favorite place in Bali. I
There you
love
go.
that place. It's so spot on. It's so clean. Like I just go stand at the edge of the cliff and I just close my eyes and just feel the wind. I love that the chairs are to the ground too. Like those little chairs that you just put like
Mm,
we have a low table right there, and we eat on the ground. Like we sit on the ground and eat off the table. So like low eating is like really cool for us. Like we really like it. And
okay.
so when I sat in those chairs, like I like sat in it and I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like, because sitting in chairs are not great for us, and so
Right.
it's
As in
like,
your digestion, or is that why you like them?
well, for example, right now, like I'm sitting cross-legged. I have like this. I moved the couch over this piece of the couch, and then I sit cross-legged, as
Okay.
opposed to sitting in a chair, because it does help with grounding, but also just like, this will be a cool exercise for you to do. Do you want to do it?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Do you want to? Yeah, are you sitting right now?
Yeah, I'm on a like we were gonna set this up before standing over there, but the view is here. So I'm on like a little
But
square.
you're sitting in a chair position, right? Like
Yeah.
as you would be. Okay. So are you wearing shorts or pants that have pockets?
Yes.
Okay, so put your hands in your pockets. And
Okay.
then what I want you to do is just grab the top of your thighs, like squeeze the top of your thighs, like tight, and now try to stand up. You feel that?
Yeah, I feel the tightness.
So that's what chairs are doing to our hip flexors.
Right.
So they're like they're shortening that tendon right there, and it starts to shrink that tendon by being in that position for our legs all the time. So obviously, like also like Zen and Chinese masters and ashrams, they all have like low tables as well. Like they all eat on the ground, and you see it here in Bali, right? Like they all sit on those what, I don't know what they're called, but like you'll see like just like 8 or 10 guys hanging out on those like things that they're just sitting. Like they don't use chairs here either, really.
Yeah, they've got that Bali squat down.
Yeah, they got that. Like, I mean, I do that squat in yoga, so it's like keep those hips going. But they just, their butts hits the ground. So yeah, with those tables, there's a couple of reasons that like, because also it's nice because like on those chairs you can like put your legs out too, like so like they're long. So it's just, I don't know, I just never really sat in a chair like that and ate, and it was so comfy too.
Awesome. I'm definitely I'm gonna do the rest of the session with my legs crossed, and hopefully that improves my surfing as well. So my hips get super tight if I'm surfing heaps. I don't know if you get that as well.
Man, stretching is a necessity for me when I surf.
100%.
Because I get so tight. So Jordan, what advice would you give, like, say first time builders like myself, now that you've built one project, playgrounds, you've done the feng shui thing, what advice would you give me or the viewers that are like, man, I would love to build in Bali? And maybe, sorry, before that, do you want to maybe just lay a foundation of like kind of the, like, so for example, the audience might not know, but like you need to lease the land, right? You can't own the land, like these types of things first before.
Yeah, cool. So I guess the legalities is what people investigating building look at first, which makes sense. So yeah, you can lease the land, or yeah, you can, that's typically what most people do. You can buy it freehold if you set up a PMA, but then basically that PMA, which is like a company, would then lease the land from the PMA, but you own the PMA and you renew that 99-year lease or whatever indefinitely, so you can own it freehold. As a foreigner, this is, so if you're a local, it's a different story, but as a foreigner, you lease the land. That's what I've done on my properties. Yeah, like 25 years, 30 years, playgrounds is 30 years. The other ones I have is like 25 years, 20 years. Yeah, so if you can sort of get your head around that, if you're doing it as an investment, it's a bit of a different way to think about it, because you want to have your money coming from cash flow rather than growth. Because, you know, you buy a house in Australia or Canada, then your house is usually going to go up. Like 20 years later, it's not going to be worth less. Whereas in Indonesia, your years, so let's say you buy 30 years, at the end of it, this was sort of a mind fuck for me. Like at the end of it, your house is going to be worth, like the land is, your house is going to be worth less at the end of the day, unless you top up. That's, so yeah, you want to have, I mean, if you put it on Airbnb, or if you get some cash flow going through it, then you're going to make some money that way. But yeah, don't rely on capital growth, because it's a lease. And yeah, make some plans, have some drawings. Yeah, speak to people, get some recommendations. I would say get some drawings. That was my mistake.
Did you not have drawings for the first one?
No,
What?
We didn't do proper drawings. We started without drawings. It was kind of silly, but it was sort of the only way that I could get myself to do it, because it seemed like such a big project to do all this stuff. I was like, okay, get the land. I found a builder, and then we ordered a like Lima Sun, which is like a joglo, and sent it to the property and stood it up, and it's like a wooden, like a traditional sort of wooden house thing. We stood it up, and then we looked at it, and I was like, yeah, that shouldn't be there. We need to do some sort of planning. Yeah, so definitely having some drawings in my other projects now. It's like that everyone has got things to follow, and they know where they're going. Spend more time doing the planning process than doing the building. So that was one of my lessons for sure. Because there's so many decisions you have to make. There's so many. If you don't have drawings, or if you don't have dimensions, there's just like, you just get hit with so much decision fatigue. Like,
Sure.
how tall do you want the bench? Where do you want the bench? What materials do you want it to be made out of? What tiles do you want it to be made out of? Yeah, so get some drawings, get some 3D models going.
So how is it working? Because like obviously this is also a barrier, it's like working with Indonesian or Balinese people. Like how has that been for you?
Yeah, so if you have a bit of Bahasa, then it helps, but it's been all right. Usually the builders are from Java, and I guess I wanted to do the first one more hands-on, because I wanted to learn about the building process and how much things actually cost, rather than comparing like, oh, okay, this guy's going to give me a quote like this. I don't really actually know what it's going to cost. So it could be ripping you off. You have to be wary about that. Maybe getting a project manager would also help. So I have project managers for my other projects. She's a wealth of knowledge. She's built a bunch of places around Bali, and so she's just like she's getting a monthly salary to make sure that they're going smoothly, they're cost efficient, and that it's on time, things like that. But yeah, if you can have a project manager to manage your stuff, then that's good. But if you want to be a bit more hands-on as well, that's good. Depends on what you want to get yourself into.
I guess that's why you can be in Panama now while all your projects are going on.
Yeah. Yeah, she's solid. She's awesome. She keeps the things rolling. Just pay the bills, yo. Bills, and things keep going.
Oh man, dude, I'm so inspired, man. Like I came out here with a dream to build, but like I didn't know like it was possible, but I just came out with faith, you know? And to hear you speak that you're building right now, it's like so inspiring. I was just my partner and I were just going and looking at some properties, and the realtor was telling me the process about going through this, and I'm like, oh my God, it's becoming closer to a reality. Like, this is actually possible. It's so cool. Would you, what would you say? Is it worth building, or is it worth just like leasing? I mean, obviously you're building 3 projects, but what would you say is worth building? Because like you said, at the end of 30 years, you're not gonna own your property really, or unless you top it back up. So when is it worth to go build, and when is it worth just to like keep doing what I'm doing here, which is just basically leasing? I can't do any real changes to this place, but what would you say is worth it? When would you recommend me making that shift?
I guess it would come down to if you want to invest as well. So if you want to have a little bit of, I would say if you want to do it, like at the end of the day, if you want to have your own place, and it depends what your objectives are. If you want to like live there and design it with your Feng Shui and all that sort of stuff, then cool, go for it. But yeah, if you're happy just living in a villa, it used to be like pre-COVID. We're talking like in COVID at the moment. Like pre-COVID, it was like a pain in the ass to get I don't know how long you've been in Bali for, but it was a pain in the ass and to get a villa, because they were all on Airbnb, like booked out, like a couple $100 a night sort of thing. So yeah, if you're looking at it long term, then I mean the market, Airbnb should come back. Yeah, if you've got a bit of money to spend, and if you want to do it, that's the main thing. Like why do you want to do it at the end of the day? Why you want to do it?
Well, it's something like what you've created there at Playgrounds, like to have like essentially your own Zen den, like your own place to like where you have different modalities. For me, like incorporating maybe a bit of like Nirvana, and then having a bit of like, I would like to also, do you know what a sensory deprivation tank is?
Yeah.
I'd like to install a sensory deprivation tank in my place too.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'd like to kind of like, that's why when I saw your place, I was just so inspired, because I would love to design like like almost like, yeah, my own Istana, you know what I mean? Where like, just on a micro scale where it's like livable. And now you have your own operation and you've got it, it's on your property.
Yeah. I mean, you can also, it gets old owning a house. Like it was cool. It's cool, but it's like, it's also responsibilities. It's like shit breaks. You got to pay things. You got to like manage tenants. I mean, the house is 5 bedrooms, so manage people. I even have we have a full-time staff there, and they do a lot of things, but not all of the things. Disputes with neighbors. It's pretty, I mean, like you can still do a lot of the things in a rental, I imagine. Yeah, I guess for me when I started out, there wasn't really an option. Like, it was super expensive to rent a villa on Airbnb. But yeah, I reckon just why do you really want to do it? Like you can probably, install an ice bath or install a deprivation tank in your villa. I don't think that the owner will be against it, sell it when you leave, or get a long-term lease on the villa. Was that the place you're staying at now? Is that the one? Have you found anywhere that you would want to rent for a long time?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. I mean, you've got a place, what in Canggu, and then you're building in Bingen. What would you say as far as property development? Where would you recommend?
Are you talking about ROI?
Yeah.
Well, the ocean, if it's close to the ocean, it's going to be a winner. Yeah, probably. I mean, the one in Bingen is more of like a boutique sort of hotel. So it's like right on the ocean and with amazing views. So that's more like a nightly sort of rental place. Whereas depends what happens post pandemic, you know, like if it comes back, then Canggu will be, if it comes back to its former glory of tourists crawling all over the place, then it's gonna be a winning market, whether you choose Bingen or Canggu.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I probably would go a little bit north, if I was going to, if it was purely ROI. What's that beach called?
So,
Up past Kedungu. You know Kedungu?
no. I
Yeah,
mean, I
maybe
probably do. I don't know if I know the exact name though.
yeah, what have they got up there? I haven't been I haven't been to Bali in a while. Been out there for a while, but yeah, Kudungu. Probably lots of the older cats that are hanging in Bali say that's the next place to pop. Basically, it just spreads. The
Yeah.
gentrification just goes up. First, it was Seminyak, and then like 5 years ago, like Canggu was sort of nothing really, rice paddies. So Kudungu's got a nice little wave. You know, I spoke to a real estate agent, and when I sort of asked her sort of a similar question, she said, "Follow the surf." That's where people like to live, where there's good waves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm thinking too. We were living in, do you know Mungu?
Yep.
I mean,
Whereabouts?
we were living Sese, around Sese,
Ah, cool.
in that area. I don't know if there's really
Nice
surf
spot.
there though. It's not really working in that beach. Like some guys are
Yeah.
trying to make it happen, but it's not like surf, you know.
Yeah. They were eating some black sand, were they?
For sure, for sure. They're trying to make it happen, which is like good for them. But I was like, man, this is what are you doing? Like, but they don't care, right? Like it's all these little Indonesians. They don't care. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've
Awesome.
yeah. So
Good team.
thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you taking the time. Looks like we're coming to the end of our podcast. Is there anything that you feel like you want to express that you haven't expressed today?
Just keep on doing what you're doing. You're sharing the wisdom, sharing the light. Not particularly. I didn't really come here with some message to spread or anything like that. But it's been cool to connect with you, and good luck with your projects in construction project. And yeah, I'm here if you need any help, or you want to connect with some builders or whatever.
I will 100% be taking you up on that. I think there obviously is a timing to everything, so I'm just getting my business off the ground too first. And we're just in the percolation phase of just thinking like what you just said, right? Like ROI to responsibilities. Like I do love that I have the freedom right now where I don't have to take care of all these things that like go wrong in this building. Like it's just getting taken care of, you know? Like I don't have to deal with it, and the whole thing's taken care of, you know. So that there is a luxury in that as well. But then also, like at least in this villa, there's not many alterations I can do. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and I'll definitely hit you up. Jordan, if anyone would like to connect with you, or maybe they have questions about building or anything, would there be a way to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. A plug I haven't. So just my WhatsApp or Instagram is Jordan JORDAN _ Oakley OAKLEY, like the sunglasses. Yeah, you can reach me on there. Find me there.
Awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your wisdom. And this was another episode of Inside Mentors Minds. Take care, everyone.